Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks so much for staying up with us tonight. We have a lot to get into. Pitt has a big game coming up later this week against Virginia Tech. The Penguins open the regular season on the road in Tampa, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers and a much-needed win against the Denver Broncos. And here to discuss is your panel. Colin Dunlap, host of the Fan Morning Show. Opposite me, below him, Jeff Hathhorn, sports director at 93.7 The Fan, and across from him, it's Mark Kaboly, who covers the Steelers for The Athletic. So, Mark, I'm going to start with you on this one, and that would be obviously much needed. Is this the blueprint the Steelers need to follow the rest of the way as best they can? Today we saw 35 rushes, 25 passes. Normally we see 50 passes and 15 rushes, or somewhere in between, but is this a step in the right direction?
Absolutely, Bob. I mean, you couldn't say it better right there. This is when they put this plan together, probably back in January, when they brought Matt Canada in and they decided Ben was going to be their quarterback. They had this game envisioned of how their offense was going to look all the time. To be able to rely on the power running game that we saw or heard so much about over the summer and the spring. To have Roethlisberger convert smart third downs, using his mind more than using his legs and his body to accomplish it. Be able to use some receivers down the field, they're talented receivers, then rely on their defense, which they did for, 3/4 of this game. Now, the question is, can this be sustainable against a good team? Because right out here was a really bad Denver team. They weren't good whatsoever. It might work next week against Seattle. It might work in 3 weeks against Chicago and Detroit. Is it going to work against Cleveland? I don't know, but this is the plan that they have to model their entire offense off of. When everything you talk about of what they did in the offseason, that's what they were talking about.
Well, I disagree with one thing that Mark said. I think it was a pretty good Denver defense. And I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers did a lot of things on first down to put them in second and manageable. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers ran the football on first down, and instead of 2nd and 10, a lot of times, instead of throwing it to Claypool up the rail and hoping as your first down play, they handed it to Najee Harris, and it made it 2nd and 5. And it's something so simplistic, but it's something that they had failed to do earlier in the season. And for me, first down positive yards really were the story of this football game, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree with all your guys' points. You make good points. Also, no turnovers. Now, they got fortunate on a couple of dropped interceptions, but still, no turnovers. And if you're able to do that offensively, and the big difference was, as much as all the things that have been discussed, is the offensive line was getting a push. You could see the surge on the offensive line that we haven't seen maybe in a couple of years. It's one game. But it is improvement, and these guys have talked about steps with that offensive line. I think that's lock and key with what you're seeing with the improvement and what you want to see from the offense and why they only had to throw it 25 times.
And isn't that the key to it, Colin, really, is the situation where you have to have these young guys, especially in more of a push-forward mode as opposed to backpedaling, and everyone will tell you that pass blocking is a lot more difficult, and they got a running back to do it. So I would imagine you're going to see more improvement gradually as this season goes on.
Well, yeah, and I thought, Bob, for all the talk the past couple weeks about Dotson, I thought he was very, very good today. And I thought Trey Turner was good. Green outside of the penalties, and that's, tough to say, but I thought he was good outside of the penalties. Troops, I don't think, has gotten better. I think he's the guy that you replace. He's the one liability on that line, and that's for sure. One thing that's been noticeable, and I don't know if Mark will agree or not, is that in the past 2 weeks, what we've seen from Najee Harris is more of a Le'Veon Bell running style inside. That is to say, he's able to put his head down and say, it's not there. Let me just take 3 yards, pull forward, and go down, as opposed to trying to dance, and it turns into a no gain. Take what I can get right here, go down. I'll take 3 yards and get up to live another day.
I think you have to give credit to Clem and Canada, too, because they changed the scheme around a little bit. You don't see any of that outside zone pushing it up to the side in one cut where these offensive linemen can't rely on their power. So they went to a lot of, over the past 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of man blocking where it's basically hit the guy in front of you. And you don't have to push a guy very far in man blocking for a running back like Najee to get 3 or 4 yards. Now, if you do and you get to the second level, you can get to 18 to the 20 yards runs. So I think the big key has been the adjustment of learning that, hey, these guys are a little bit too inexperienced together to do what we originally want to do. So let's just line it up and push the guys off the ball as far as we can. Make it simple so Najee can do what he can do.
Yeah, and that's what Matt Canada said in training camp, that they wanted to make it simple for the offensive line. Maybe at times they didn't, or maybe it's just that they're improving. And I want to say this, too. I mean, is Von Miller retired? Does he still play? Because he wasn't there today. And I got to give credit to the tackles. I mean, Von Miller was a no factor in this game. And who would have thought that coming into this game? You would have thought that Von Miller would have wreaked havoc in that Steeler backfield. The only sack that happened was because it was a coverage sack, and Roethlisberger held on to it too long, and that wasn't even Von Miller that got him. Kudos to that offensive line. You know, if you're looking at game balls, I'm giving mine to that O-line.
Yeah, if you listened to afterwards, it was amazing, Jeff, how many times Najee Harris brought up the offensive line. He kept deflecting attention as best he could. Mark, back to you on this one. Ben Roethlisberger clearly his best game of the year, although I thought Buffalo's second half, he did a lot of good things there. But how important was that for him now moving forward? Because he's heard a lot of different things from a lot of different people. But again, if you give him more of a game manager role, which is what I thought it would be this year, I think you can see a lot of success there.
I don't know if he was really affected by a lot of the talk. I think he's heard it, you know, how he was done, and he wanted to prove them wrong. But I think he knows what he can do. Well, let me back up a little bit here. I don't still think he knows what he can do and what he can't do. For the most part, he has to realize that he cannot try to scramble for yards. And we saw it twice, at least twice that I remember, where he got flushed to the right both times. He got sacked on one with the forced fumble. The other time he rolled and threw an awful pass that should have been intercepted. He has to stay in his lane right now and accept his role. And his role is what you saw out here today, is to make the big key throws when you need to, keep the chains going. And if he was doing the RPOs, making that decision too of whether you should run or throw the ball. And I think that's an important part right there. So I don't think he was messed up mentally, like he was going to be just totally gone and you're going to have to pull a guy because, you know, he's so young and he's so, you know, flabbergasted, as Ron Cook would say. I don't think he would ever like that, but I think this definitely helps moving forward. You got to learn, man, either throw it away or take the sack. You can't be trying to scramble. You just can't do it because you don't have those legs anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what was very not surprising, but in a good way. The past 2 weeks, you can go to the misconnection with Juju last week twice up the middle of the field. And then this week, obviously, the big balls up the middle of the field, and even found Gentry in the middle of the field. Ben has started to use the middle of the field again. That's got to be a plus to me. That passing game is going to work from the middle to the hashes, to the rails. And if he can get that going, that's a gigantic positive for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they've started to use the middle of the field again.
Well, and it's amazing how much better a quarterback looks when play action works, when RPOs work, because the running game actually is doing something. And you know what the other thing was? Do you guys remember a drop? I don't remember a drop in this game. I thought the receivers did a nice job of hanging.
Yeah, White was the biggest one. It was right in his
Benny
hands.
Snell.
Yeah, you're right. But for the most part, there weren't the drops that you can remember, drops that set up games. And by the way,
Jeff meant from real players who are going to play a part moving forward.
I thought Cody White, though, had a nice block on that one long gain by Najee Harris. He and Freiermuth, so.
Right, but by the way, you know, the Steelers, I guess, their offensive line feeds off criticism. So for all of us, for Steeler fans, the offensive line stinks. You're horrible. You're welcome.
All right, we'll see what that does moving forward. And they got a big game next week, Seattle, without Russell Wilson. We'll delve into that maybe a little bit. But also, I got some decisions that were made today, and I want to see what these guys think about that. It's coming up. Later, some Penguin talk as well. It's all right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.